Joined now by Janatan Sayeh, research analyst focused on Iran with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Janatan, Israel's prime minister is heading to Washington to push Trump for a broader deal that does include the missiles and the proxy networks that Iran has built up. So how exactly is Iran viewing this visit by the Israeli prime minister?
The challenge with incorporating the two additional points that you noted, missiles and proxies, is that on the missiles, Tehran sees those as essential for survival. They think if they give up their ballistic missiles, they're effectively open to an attack, which is true. They don't have an air force, and their air defenses are down following the 12-day war. So that would be an existential threat to them if they were to give up their ballistic missiles or if they were to limit the range, especially given that Tehran is increasingly feeling paranoid. They think they're back to a corner. Domestically, we saw the uprising to the point that they had to massacre over tens of thousands. But going to the proxy issue, that is the hardest thing to enforce, because what international body is supposed to monitor and exactly what would be the red lines? Would simply sending an AK-47 to the Houthis in Yemen, would that violate that theoretical agreement? So it'd be very challenging to include those two things into an agreement. Therefore, we're back in square one, opposing the Islamic Republic opposing our demands and us trying to go beyond the 2015 JCPOA. Evidently, Tehran has not provided any concessions, so far at least.
I just don't see where this leaves room for negotiations then, Janatan. If Tehran insists on this red line that these negotiations are just focused on the nuclear program and not even on enrichment, then where does this leave any room for actual talks between the United States and Iran?
Ultimately, if the idea is to have all options on the table, diplomacy needs to come first. We've seen the military buildup. We've heard the threats from the president. The EU is on our side this time, and they designated RGC as a terror group. And of course, we see Jerusalem and Washington holding talks. But that said, first avenue should always be diplomatic outreach. And once negotiations fail, the same way they failed in May 2025, then that would legitimize a strike even further. The idea here is to show the world that the ball is in Tehran's court, and they continue to not provide concessions, drag out talks, stall, so they can deter a potential attack, given their domestic situation.
Well, on that note, then, do you get the sense that both sides are actually aiming for a deal right now, or is this mainly trying to gain leverage and buy time in the international arena?
From the Iranian perspective, of course, they would try their best to buy time. But on the other hand, looking at Israel and Washington's perspective, time is of essence. We have no time to waste. The momentum on the ground is still on our side, and it's very important that we capitalize on it. So stalling is Tehran's tactic. It's actually not in Israel's or America's or Europe's favor in any capacity. And as Iranians who are watching this on the ground, I'm talking about ordinary Iranians that saw the tweets from President Trump saying, "Rise up, we will help you, help is on the way." As they see these negotiations unfold, it is a devastating blow to their morale. So again, we cannot risk to alienate such a civic movement that is pro-America and pro-Israel. So of course, one side wants to drag out talks, but the other side, time is of essence.
And we'll have to see exactly how this all plays out. Janatan Sayeh, thanks so much for being with us on i24 News today.
Thank you.